Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Butler. I'm the executive director of Insight. We're a nonprofit agency that provides programs and services for Rhode Islanders of all ages who are blind and visually impaired. I also serve as the vice chair of the Rhode Island Vision Education Services Program Advisory Board. I've been asked to make some brief remarks today about the importance of the RIVES program. So I want to start by saying that unfortunately, kids with visual impairments start life with the deck stacked against them. And I want to be very clear that they don't start life with the deck stacked against them because of their visual impairment. They start that way because of the misconceptions and low expectations that society places on people who are visually impaired. To know that's true, you only need to look at the fact that even in the best economic times, when unemployment is very low, and despite the advances that have been made in the last generation in regards to technology, the unemployment rate for people who are blind and visually impaired is more than 70%. The rate's not this high because folks don't want to work. It's largely because employers won't give them the chance to show them what they can do. Because of this, kids with visual impairments have to work a little bit harder and smarter, be much more confident and a lot more independent than their sighted peers if they stand a chance at overcoming the misconceptions and low expectations. Teachers of the visually impaired and orientation mobility specialists help their students achieve at the same levels, or sometimes even beyond, those of their sighted peers. They ensure that their students have the tools and the skills they need to succeed in school and in the world beyond. I think that all of us can probably look back to our days in school and point to those teachers who helped set us on our future path to success. The teachers who saw a spark of talent or ability that we didn't even know was there. They encouraged us, they challenged us, and they gave us a push when we really needed it. They believed in our ability to succeed, even perhaps when we didn't believe it ourselves. And I'm sure we'd all agree that if we could find just one or two of those kinds of teachers to support kids who are blind and visually impaired, that there would be no limit to what those kids could achieve. Rhode Island is very blessed to have not just one or two of these amazing teachers, but to have 13 of them. Dedicated, highly skilled educators who work here in the RIVES program and who every day teach their students that there are absolutely no limits to what they can accomplish in their lives. This program is successful, and I know that because I've seen it myself. Kids who I've known, like Jackson and Ryan, since they were in 3rd or 4th grade, who've attended summer camps at Insight or come to our low vision clinic. I've watched them grow into confident, independent, self-assured young adults who are breaking past the stereotypes and defying people's expectations of what they can accomplish. That is why this program is truly something worth fighting for. I want to thank everyone who's assembled here today for their efforts to ensure the amazing work that happens in the RIVES program will be able to continue, and Speaker Shekarchi will talk about that in a minute. But I especially want to thank Speaker Shekarchi. I had never met or spoken to the speaker before a few weeks ago when he heard me discussing this issue on talk radio, of all places, and tracked me down afterwards at Insight. We spoke on the phone for quite some time, and he asked a lot of good questions and challenged a lot of my assertions. It was clear to me that he was truly trying to understand the issues. While he said he couldn't commit to a solution during that call, he told me how important this issue was to him personally, and he promised to work it out. All of us who care about this program and these kids will always be grateful to him for keeping his word and doing just that. So it's with great pleasure to make the official announcements that I introduce House Speaker Joe Shekarchi.
Thank you, Chris. You're right. I was listening with Steve Clampkin. I was listening to WPR radio, and Chris was on, and he was telling me about the problem that existed. And of course, I hear from my colleagues, and I'll get to them in a minute, about it. But he was pleading their case and it was very personal to me. My mother, who's passed some time ago, she was visually impaired. And in speaking to Chris, I was able to understand what visually impaired students have to do to achieve what they have achieved. And it struck me as this is what's wrong with government. We should be helping this program and not taking it away. And I understand there's challenges, like everything else in state government, we can look to improve things. I want to thank Chris. This is an important issue, not only to me personally. Every day in state government, there's a challenge. There's a challenge somewhere. Governor gets it, the Senate President gets it, I get it. But there's very few challenges that can bring the governor, the Senate President, senators, representatives all together very quickly and solve the problem. And that's what we did today. I'm pleased to announce today that funding for the Sherlock Center and the program and the wonderful teachers that support the program will continue at a minimum for the next 24 months. They have been, yes, that's an achievement for everybody. The governor has committed, the Senate President has committed, Commissioner Alfonte Green has awarded them master contract status for the next 24 months. They are the winning bidder, so to speak. We're going to continue with an earmark in our state budget to make sure that this program is fully funded. The Senate President and I are going to commit to a task force of 4 representatives and 4 senators to look at the problem, to listen to people like Chris Butler, to listen to the teachers that Frank Flynn and his union so adequately and so advocate so strongly for the work they do, and the parents, and most importantly, the students, the ones who are affected and need this program. So we're going to look to ways to improve it. We're going to look to ways to increase the funding. We're going to look at ways out of the box, and we're going to come to a solution in 2 years. But in the meantime, the services will be uninterrupted and fully funded. And that's the most important thing, that people need to know this. If there are layoff notices that have gone out, they will be rescinded. We will work collaboratively and collectively, and I know this task force will listen and come up with a solution to solve the problems that we face in the short term and the long term. I want to recognize my colleagues from the House who have been tremendous in advocating, starting with Julie Casimiro from North Kingstown. Julie can be a bit of a pain at times. Notice
At times?
Notice I said at times, but her advocacy for her constituent Ryan and for this program was unwavering. Representative Tom Naray, unbelievable advocate. Chairman Hull and Bill O'Brien, who sits on the Finance Committee, all have concerned to make sure this program continued. We wanted to make sure that whatever hiccups that developed between Rhode Island College and Department of Education were solved. And I'm going to thank President Sanchez and the Commissioner as well for seeing the wisdom of resolving these issues quickly to make sure that this program can continue. And most importantly, the parents and the students who've written to me and called me. And Chris Butler, I mean, if I didn't hear from you on that radio that day, I don't know where we would be. But he called me right back. I left him 2 messages, one on his cell phone, one in the office. He called me back. We spoke for about 45 minutes. In that 45 minutes, I learned so much about the program and so much about the students and the teachers. And it made me absolutely committed to resolving this quickly and not waiting for the end of June when we pass a budget. And Senate President was right there with me. Together we went to the governor. He jumped on board and was totally committed to make sure this program can continue. So I want to thank them both, because without them, there wouldn't be a solution today. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Senate President. I'll let Chris continue. I know some of the people want to speak, but I'll be happy to take some questions after. I want to recognize everyone who's worked very hard here, my colleagues especially. Thank you very much, Chris.
Next, we'd like to bring up Senate President Dominic Ruggiero for a few words.
Thank you very much, Chris, and I want to thank everyone for being here today.
I want to recognize the speaker because he took this issue on immediately after he had some conversations with different people. While that was happening, we were discussing this one particular issue. And also, I was getting buttonholed by some of the people over here to my right. A couple people who aren't here today regarding this issue. Obviously, this is very important, not only to the students, not only to the teachers, but to the state of Rhode Island. It's our duty to educate children, and that means all of them. And to find a way to educate them, especially when they have certain impairments, can be a little difficult. However, it's our job to effectuate that and make that happen. I want to commend the commissioner, and I want to commend the president of Rhode Island College for their cooperativeness on this particular issue. We recognize that the services provided by these highly specialized teachers are vital, and that the relationships they've forged with students over the course of years working together are instrumental to the student success. It is our intention to work collaboratively, and that means all the General Assembly, the Governor's Office, the Department of Education, and everyone involved to facilitate the education for these young people. I want to recognize my colleagues who are here today, but also two of my colleagues who are not, that were on the forefront of this issue, and that was Senate Majority Leader Michael McCaffrey and also President Pro Tem of the Senate, Hannah Gallo. She's a teacher. She's very involved in the education issues, and she couldn't be here because she's teaching right now, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned those two individuals. Also, I certainly want to mention our chairwoman of the Senate Committee on Education, Senator Sandra Cano. She was on this issue from day one as soon as she heard about it, and she came to me and said, we have to do something about this particular situation. Also, Deputy Majority Leader Val Lawson, who's a teacher and who knows the value of education for our students. So I want to recognize them and thank them. And then there's Senator Frank Lombardo, the chair of our Housing and Municipal Government Committee. I want to thank Frank for his involvement for pushing this issue to the forefront in the Senate. And lastly, but certainly not least, is Senator Ryan Pearson, the chair of the Finance Committee. If we can't get it by him, he's the one that holds the purse strings. If you can't get it by him, we're all in trouble. But I wanted to mention those people, commend them, and I certainly want to, once again, mention the involvement of the House, the leadership of the House, and certainly the Speaker's effort. Speaker Sakachi, certainly this is an issue that's close and near and dear to his heart, but even if it wasn't, he would be the type of person, knowing the type of situation this is with these young students who are impaired, he would jump out on this issue regardless of what his personal feelings were. So I want to thank you all for coming here. I want to thank you all for your involvement, for the great job that you do each and every day. I certainly want to thank the teachers, because I have to think that, not being a teacher myself, this has to be a very difficult job teaching those individuals that are visually impaired. But a couple of those students spoke earlier, and I can see why this program is so well thought of, and it's something that we certainly need to do. So I want to thank the Speaker for his commitment for the next 2 years on funding this particular program, and we're going to take a close look at it, and I'm certainly going to have some of my experts sit on that task force, and hopefully we can come up with some good results. Thank you all very much for being here today.
Next, I'd like to introduce Governor Dan McKee for a few words.
Yeah, thank you, and for the leadership, the Speaker and Senate President and their colleagues. Thank you so much for that work. Important that we step up for an important education opportunity for young people to live in the state of Rhode Island. Just one personal story. When I was Lieutenant Governor, chair in the Lieutenant Governors Association, one of our Lieutenant Governors from Washington, Saris Habib, he could not see. He was blind. And yet, that didn't stop him from being a leader. And that's what I hear today with, you know, the opportunity that our young people have. We've got to give them every opportunity possible to make sure that they reach their potential in order for the state of Rhode Island to reach its potential. So I'll just leave it at that. I mean, I want to just congratulate the students for their civic leadership here and their proactive move here to make this a public issue and to be willing to speak publicly about it. That takes courage, so I want to thank them. I want to thank the teachers and leadership with Frank Flynn and others for understanding how important this is. And again, the commissioner, working with the commissioner to do our part from our side of the budget side to make sure that we make this commitment to supporting students and providing them with the learning opportunities they need and deserve, you know, with no exceptions. And it is especially true for our students that need supports like the ones at the Sherlock Center. So our office is committed to continue to work on behalf of every student. I believe our young people in the state of Rhode Island are our highest priority, and we need to make sure that we treat them as they are our highest priority. So thank you for having me here today.
Next, I'd like to introduce the Education Commissioner, Angelica Infante Green.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so humbled to be here because what you see today is what government should look like. The speaker said that there are challenges in government every single day, and there are. But what has happened here today is monumental, that everybody comes together to ensure that our students get the best education possible. Chris Butler said that the kids that you see here, the kids that are serviced by the Sherlock Center, experience challenges, and the challenges are really about low expectations. And that's not something that we as an organization we are in favor of or can tolerate. Where, Mr. Bovey, can you raise your hand? So he was on our council when I first joined, and he was leading the way for the work that we were doing at RIDE. And now he's on the Council of Higher Ed at URI, because we know that our kids can achieve. What we're excited about, and I have to thank President Sanchez for the many long hours working behind the scenes, and Emily and Ed Pacheco for trying to make this happen. Before, we were all having these conversations in silos, and now it's all of government working together to ensure that our students have what they need. We are committed at RIDE to having the funding, as you heard, for the next 2 years, as we work to improve and make it the best organization possible. So we are here, stand united, to make sure that we work together and that we move forward in a way that benefits our kids. Thank you.